Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. For today's video, we are going to go through the biggest need every NBA team must address at the trade deadline. So this is an article on Bleacher Report by Zach Buckley, and basically I want to see like what the headlines are here for each team. I'm going to give you guys my opinion on what that specific team can do maybe to address that need. Now, I've not checked these out yet, so I'm going to kind of like be shooting from the hip right here when it comes to this. But yeah, I'll do my best and see what we can come up with. So the first team we have is the Atlanta Hawks needing more building blocks. So yeah, when it comes to the Hawks, the team is extremely young, except for Vince Carter, of course, but he'll probably be retired after next season, or something like that. But I don't feel like this team needs to like go out and sign some free agent out there that's going to make them just like a little bit better for some ridiculous contract. I would say if they have a chance to get a superstar, then yes, of course, do that. But otherwise, just like continue to do what you're doing out there. Try to get rid of any bad contracts you have. So basically, 2, 3, 4 seasons down the road, when your main core is ready to compete, then you'll have a ton of cap space to not only re-sign your guys, but also go out there and get some big name free agents. And in the meantime, you're going to continue to accumulate draft picks and get some good guys with that. So yeah, don't go out there don't go out and get like a Chris Middleton. Middleton's great and everything, but it's not a type of guy that this team needs in particular. Next up, we have the Boston Celtics, patience and hope, with a picture of Anthony Davis for the little picture right here now. So while I'm making this video, this is before any sort of Anthony Davis trade has gone down. But yeah, the thing I don't like about the situation is that I personally, if I'm the Celtics, I ask Kyrie Irving, are you going to opt in? And I need an answer. If he said it's yes or no, if you're not going to do it, then you trade Kyrie, because the reason the Celtics cannot trade for Anthony Davis right now is because something like the Rose rule or something like that has something to do with the contracts. And basically, like, if Kyrie Irving doesn't opt in, they can have two of those type of contracts, out there on their salary books and stuff like that. So it's like if Kyrie is not committing, then that kind of has me shook as a GM. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then I'm going to get rid of you because I'm not going to lose out on a chance to get Anthony Davis. Plain and simple, man. I know patience to an extent, but yeah, the hope is that Kyrie Irving does resign, opts in soon, and then can go for Anthony Davis. Next up, we have the Brooklyn Nets needing a two-way forward. So yeah, I mean, they have like D'Lo at point guard. I believe their shooting guard is Joe Harris, although he spent some time at small forward. Caris LeVert, I would probably say, is more of a two guard than he is a small forward, with being able to play the small forward position, of course. But, you got like Rondae Hollis-Jefferson. I believe he's more like defensive oriented. You want a guy out there that can do, that can do everything, not just, because if you can go out there and just play really good defense, that's great. But what your team is lacking on offense can really just negate anything you do defensively. They need guys that can do both things out there. Of course, Joe Harris, more offensive oriented, not the greatest at defense. Two-way players, they're so valuable here in the NBA. Next up, we have the Charlotte Hornets, a legitimate second option. So Kemba Walker, my guess is that Kemba Walker probably does return to the Charlotte Hornets. He just seems like a lifer when it comes to that. And it would be nice if this team went out and spent some money and went up and got him like another like all-star to play alongside him. But if that does not happen, I still think that, like Malik Monk can be a pretty solid player out there. Miles Bridges, I still think, has star potential. He's extremely young. I really do think he's going to take that next step next NBA season. They should potentially be in the lottery if they don't make the playoffs. So it's like they're going to get another decent draft pick. So yeah, it would be nice to get Kemba somebody to play alongside with. But if not, I do think they have the pieces currently on their team that just need some more time. Although Kemba is going to be 30, so how much time exactly do you have? We have the Chicago Bulls rebuilding tools. Yeah, I mean, this team's going to be fine. I have faith in what the Chicago Bulls are doing out there. I really like Chris Dunn. Zach LaVine looks like he's going to be a nice player for many years to come, barring injury. Wendell Carter, I think, is going to be exactly what you want from the center position. I don't want them to get into a Clipper type of situation where it's like they have all these really good pieces out there. They just don't have that star to bring it all together. The good thing is that it is Chicago, and stars are going to want to play there via free agencies. So right now, they have some nice players that just need a few more years. And in the meantime, if they can go out there and draft like a Zion or RJ Barrett to be the superstar of that team, or they just continue to accumulate players, then eventually that superstar will come along. Next up, we have the Cleveland Cavaliers draft capital. So I don't really know what it means about this, but I assume it has something to do along the lines with like getting like draft picks and stuff like that, which is fine. I mean, if we're being honest, Cleveland Nation, Y'all got lucky that LeBron James was from Akron, because that's the big reason why he stayed there for so many seasons. It's because he was from Cleveland, of course, or the area. It's just I don't really see superstars signing in Cleveland. I just don't see it happening. I mean, come on, man. It barely happened when LeBron James was there. It was hard to get superstars alongside LeBron, which was the big issue both times that he ended up leaving. The first time, his best player alongside him was an aging Zydrunas Ilgauskas and Antoine Jameson. And last year in the finals, they had an injured Kevin Love and just like everybody else out there. So, yeah, man, Kyrie Irving, of course, was drafted by them. So, I don't know, man. It's going to be some rough seasons for Cleveland unless they get a similar, like, Zion type of draft pick out there. Next up, we have Dallas Mavericks, Doncic sidekicks. This one is actually going to be easier said than done. I'm actually pretty surprised with just, like, how okay the Dallas Mavericks are with Luka Doncic being the guy out there, because he's only 19. You would think a lot of like NBA veterans just would not really like that. So it's going to be tough to get like some older guys out there that are all-star caliber players that want to play Luka, just because he does have a little bit of ego to him. And a lot of older guys are not going to want to answer to the young blood out there. Now, the man just had a 35-point, like 12 rebound, 10 assists, triple-double or something like that. So, if I'm a star, I'm going to listen to Luka as long as I can help him out. They just have to get guys out there that do not mind being that second and third option. They are out there, but they are few and far between when it comes to superstar players. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets, three-point gunners. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the team is fine from the three-point range. I know you got, like, Jamal Murray, he shoots it fine. Gary Harris. I know Will Barton's probably not the greatest three-point shooter. Jokic can knock him down. Paul Millsap, when healthy. Trey Lyles, kind of what he does out there is shoot threes, at least last time I watched him. Isaiah Thomas has potential. Monte Morris is nice. So I don't know, man. I would say that the Denver Nuggets potential, or like biggest thing, is they need to get a solid small forward, because Michael Porter Jr. probably is not going to be back this season. Torrey Craig is an okay player, but not somebody you want starting on your championship team. They need to get, I guess I could say that, a solid three-point shooting, a 3-and-D player for the three spot, like a Wayne Ellington. Josh Richardson would be the ideal situation to get him at the three. That's probably not happening, but somebody like that. Okay, next up we have Detroit Pistons, the 3-and-D wing. Stanley Johnson, you got the D. I don't pause. Okay, you don't know me, man. Stanley Johnson got the D. He ain't got the 3. Okay, the dude's trash. Glenn Robinson barely plays. Reggie Bullock is more of a shooting guard. It's just they have to play him at small forward because they lack the depth of the position. And yeah, they need a guy that can do both things out there. But I would still say the team needs a point guard more than anything, man. They need a leader out there. That's not Reggie Jackson. He is not a leader. Next up, we have the Golden State Warriors, instant offense reserve. There's a guy out there that I believe is going to be available that can bring you some instant offense. His name is Carmelo Anthony. The players are out there. Even free agency-wise, I'm sure there's guys out there that are better than some of the players they have scoring-wise on their bench right now. Because like Shaun Livingston, Iguodala, those guys are nice veterans, not really big-time scorers anymore. Next up, we have the Houston Rockets, perimeter shooting and defense. Yeah, I mean, the team is kind of a three-point shooting. Like they're already kind of perimeter-oriented. I know some games they probably struggle, and a big reason why it works is because James Harden is such a great shooter. But when the team's completely healthy, they're typically pretty good shooting. I know Chris Paul can struggle at times because he's getting older. His legs are getting weaker on him. Eric Gordon can be streaky. So I guess, if anything, this team needs more consistency. I think the consistency is probably the key right there. Next, we have the Indiana Pacers need a rental scorer. Yeah, I'm still deciding what the best fit is that at that 2 spot for the Pacers. I still think Tyreke Evans can be the guy out there. He was it for the Memphis Grizzlies last season. But if not, I know Tim Hardaway is on the block. He's on a 2-year deal. He's somebody that could even next season play the small forward position for this team or come off the bench as a 6-man. I personally like the idea of them maybe trying to bring back Monte Ellis. I know he's a bit older and doesn't really fit too much in this NBA anymore, but it would be kind of fun to watching him return to the Indiana Pacers. The guys are out there. It doesn't even have to be like a superstar, all-star caliber player. It just has to be a guy that can, get you 12 points a game and let the rest of the team do the rest. You let Miles Turner as a bonus be the stars out there. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Clippers, a short-term center upgrade. This one I disagree with. Maybe it's time to actually give the reins of the starting center position to Montrezl Harrell, because I don't know why they bring him off the bench. I just don't know. He's clearly the best center on the team, use Marcin Gortat like 20 minutes a game off the bench. It will allow him to come into the game and just kind of get a read for things out there. Sometimes with older players, that's all it takes. So no, the center position is not really what they need. If I'm the Clippers, really, if you have a chance to like trade away like some bad contracts, then maybe you do that. And that way you go out there into the offseason and you have all this money freed up to maybe go for 1 or 2 big name superstars, then yeah, you do that. But I think the Clippers are actually okay right now. I don't really think I think they can kind of like stay and put for this trade deadline. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Lakers, a single-browed sidekick for LeBron James. How about a no-brow, like Charlie Villanueva? I'm just joking, Charlie V. Actually, I don't like Charlie V at all. He stole so much money from my Pistons, like $50 million. But yeah, it might have happened by now by the time we're watching this video. Just my thoughts about this is, I believe it was Los Pollos. I think I saw a retweet from him. Something like, it's like the goal of the NBA is to win championships. So, not to collect players. So, I know people are like, Ingram, Kuzma, Lonzo, we don't want to trade them away. If you have the opportunity to team up LeBron James with the best big guy on LeBron James, then you guys have 2 of the top 5 best players in the entire NBA on the same team. You do it. You do it. There's nothing else to it, man. You do it. It's a rhyme. The Memphis Grizzlies rebuilding tools. Yup, you have 2 great trade assets in Mike Conley and Marc Gasol. They are doing nothing for you this season. The longer you wait on trading these guys, the less value they have because their contracts become short-term. And it's just like teams that are going to trade for these, and not to mention they're getting older too. It's like teams that want these guys, they're going to want them locked up for this season, next season, the season after, whatever it is. I know Marc Gasol's contract is a little bit different than Mike Conley's, but still, both players getting older. It's like you trade them as soon as possible. That's what you do, man. You just embrace the rebuild. Next up, we have the Miami Heat with future flexibility. I think this kind of comes down to some of the contracts they have. I know like Dion Waiters' contract's not great. Tyler Johnson's isn't very good. Probably a few other players on that team I'm not even thinking of. Miami is a nice destination for free agents. They have some good pieces on that team. I love Justice Winslow. I love what Josh Richardson does out there. It's just they need to be able to keep those guys, but at the same time get rid of some of the less efficient guys and free up the money. So yeah, if you can trade 1 or 2 of those contracts away, that would be great. Milwaukee Bucks, extra shooting. I disagree with this one. I think the team has plenty of shooting out there. I would maybe like to see them get a different, because even like Tony Snell, I believe, is okay as like a backup small forward. But like Eric Bledsoe, not much of a shooter. He shoots like 34% from 3, which is fine. Brogdon, one of the best in the NBA percentage-wise. You got Chris Middleton out there. Brook Lopez literally just shoots 3s now. The team, Thon Maker requested a trade. I don't understand how this team is not working Thon Maker into the offense. He's literally a 7-footer that shoots 3-pointers, and that is what Brook Lopez is. That's what he should be out there. So I don't really think this team needs scoring. Once again, I think it's a team that's fine. I mean, maybe a little bit of bench depth would be nice, but that's about it. Maybe a guy that can play more, as a little extra defense off the bench would be great. Next up, we have Minnesota Timberwolves, long-term assets. It says they are close enough to the playoff picture that buying probably sounds appealing, but they can't be too short-sighted. So yeah, I guess they want to go for players out there that maybe 4 or 5 years down the road will really pan out for them. Because, Karl-Anthony Towns, Andrew Wiggins, those guys are still extremely young. Where Derrick Rose, he is fun to watch now, but he's really not into the future plans of this team. So it's a short-term, fun season for the Timberwolves with Derrick Rose. But long-term, you still got to think about like which guys is going to fit alongside Karl-Anthony Towns. New Orleans Pelicans, a rebuilding kit. Well, this is going to come via trading this guy away and really going for the best package possible. I mean, if the team can go out and get like Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, I don't think it's a bad start because you are looking at a team of, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday, Ingram, Mirotic, and Julius Randle. That's a young team. That's pretty solid. Outside of Drew Holiday, who would probably end up requesting a trade himself eventually, but it's really not a bad start. So I think the Lakers probably have the best offers as of right now. I know the Knicks are going to be offering up a trade package. I don't know what it is to make in this video. The Raptors would probably, trade away Pascal Siakam. Not really sure how much sense that makes, considering that the front court's already pretty loaded for the Pelicans. Next up, we have the New York Knicks cap space. Yup, and that's going to be by trading, once again, these 2 guys in the picture, Tim Hardaway, Courtney Lee. Those guys are not really helping this team win right now. Even next season or season after that, do you really want Tim Hardaway being your first or second option on the team? Probably not. Get rid of those guys. Allow Kristaps to continue to get healthy this season. Go out there and get yourself a nice top 3 draft pick. All of a sudden, Kristaps is healthy. You got a whole salary cap. You got a whole cap space out there, man, to go for some big name players. And you guys are a big, solid destination. The team will be great. But Tim Hardaway, Courtney Lee, not really doing this team any favors as of right now. Next up, we have the OKC Thunder with floor spacing. I think this mainly comes from the shooting guard position. Alex Abrines has not been great. Terrence Ferguson's actually getting a bit better, guys. I've been checking out a few Thunder games. He's been shooting a lot better, so they might actually have their answer right there. Roberson's going to be back probably sometime this season, but he's not going to give you floor spacing at all. Jeremy Grant has been better than expected. Patrick Patterson can still knock down threes every now and then. It just would be nice maybe to get another like shooting guard or two for that bench that can go in there and do some things. Next up, we have the Orlando Magic with the floor general. Love DJ Augustine, should not be a starting point guard. As far as like going for somebody, I mean, yeah, I guess you could trade away some assets for Mike Conley, but Mike Conley on the Magic is not really doing anything in this NBA. So it doesn't make sense for them to, lock down their franchise to his contract for 2 or 3 seasons. I think they're better off just rolling out this season. Maybe trade Vucevic for something. Just something. Get something for the guy. Start Mo Bamba, get him some minutes out there. And then try to get a top draft pick and go for like a John Morant or somebody like that, man. Because none of the point guards that are going to be available is going to help this team all that quick. Philadelphia 76ers are wing shooters. I mean, I guess, like, Wilson Chandler, I think, is a decent shooter. Corey Brewer is serviceable out there. Jimmy Butler, when healthy, of course, is the great shooter. They got JJ Redick, although he's not really a wing player, I wouldn't say. I don't know, man. I'm trying to think of the 76ers and, like, what they could use. I would personally like to see them go for maybe a solid, like, defensive rebounding center for the bench to, like, back up Joel Embiid at times. I know they have, like, Mike Muscala, Amir Johnson. Those guys are okay. But I don't know, man. I think the 76ers are probably also pretty good. Maybe a better power forward to play right now because Wilson Chandler, it's not really his natural spot, and they could probably actually upgrade that. Phoenix Suns, point guard, see the part about the Magic, same thing. Nobody's really going to help this team be all that great as of right now. Embrace the tank. I mean, I guess Mike Conley, I'd rather see him go to this team than I would see the Orlando Magic, but that's just personal preference. We have the Portland Trailblazers with Impact Wing. Yeah, Evan Turner, dude, that's kind of one of the worst contracts of all time, man. I'm sorry, man. One of the worst contracts. Mo Harkless, another horrible contract. This team's locked up to so many bad wing players, and just none of them produce. Like, Al-Farouq Aminu, I do like him a bit. He's got a pretty nice contract. It's like 1 year, less than $7 million. But somebody has to go out there and just be that. Just be a 3-and-D player. Be somebody that can allow for, Damian and Nurkic and CJ to do some things out there, and it's just not really happening. We have Sacramento Kings. The small forward position is what they need, or should target, I guess. Yeah, because they have Buddy Hield at the 2 spot, of course. Although I think Buddy Hield, I don't know, does Buddy Hield start these days or he come off the bench? They also have Bogdanovic, who was their rookie last season. He's 6'6", but probably is more of like a shooting guard in this era of basketball. Although I think he played a little small forward last season. So yeah, it would be nice to see them get like a nice like athletic wing that can kind of like play off the pick and roll with De'Aaron Fox. And once again, just 3-and-D. It's what you want at the 3 spot, man. Unless you're a superstar, of course. And typically those guys can do everything. Unless you're Giannis, then you're just D in everything, minus 3. For the San Antonio Spurs, perimeter depth. I don't know. I mean, I think they could probably use a better point guard right now because DeJounte, we don't know what he's going to be like. As far as their big guys go, like LaMarcus Aldridge is fine. Poeltl is solid. Pau Gasol is kind of old. I don't really know what this team needs, man. I think I got Greg Popovich. They'll be fine. We have the Toronto Raptors with sharp shooting reserves. Yeah, because right now their shooting guard, or their backups, is, because Danny Green starts, I believe, at the 2 spot. DeLon Wright might be the shooting guard of the team. I know they got like Norman Powell on the team, although I don't think he really plays. They got Fred VanVleet, who can sometimes get it done. Valanciunas, he's an inside guy that plays off the bench. So yeah, this one I do agree with. They could probably use, not only at the 3 spot, but probably at the 4 spot. Just like, I would love to see them get like a Joe Harris or somebody like that. Just somebody that can just go out there and take the pressure offensively off the second unit. Next up, we have the big 3 puzzle piece. They don't even really need that. What this team needs is they just need some floor spacers. They need to get rid of Ricky Rubio and Derek Favors. Both those guys, not only do I not, like they're fine players, but putting both those guys in the lineup with Rudy Gobert, who brings you nothing like perimeter-wise, he's an inside player, or Donovan Mitchell, where it's just like, it's somebody that likes the ball in his hands and like attacking the basket, but gets no floor spacing from Rubio or Derek Favors. It's just like, those guys are fine. Just, you got to get the right pieces around your 2 star pieces. And then finally, we have the Washington Wizards, future assets and cap flexibility. Yeah, you would think that Otto Porter would have been a future asset, but it turns out as soon as he got the $100 million, he decided he didn't want to be a good NBA player. So it'd be great to see them get rid of him. I mean, John Wall, Bradley Beal are still locked up. You can't trade John Wall because he's injured. So maybe if the team wants to trade Bradley Beal away, but I still don't think that's the answer. I like the idea of Bradley Beal and Thomas Bryant being the rebuilding pieces and trying to get rid of some of the other bad contracts out there. But yeah, man, I guess as far as right now, the first step would be to try to get rid of Otto Porter and just free up that cap space going into the offseason and working from there. But yeah, hope you guys all enjoyed this video. Love going through these. So, you know, the trade deadline always brings us something special. I'm very curious what it's going to be this time around. But be sure to drop that like, subscribe if you're new to my channel, and peace out, my friends.